Call the member for Canberra.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Today is an incredibly important day for this parliament and this nation, where we monitor the progress against the Closing the Gap targets that were set in 2008 following the apology, the national apology by Prime Minister Kevin Rudd. And sadly today we know that 5 of those 7 targets are far from on track. Those targets were to halve the gap in child mortality by 2018. And tragically, it remains twice that. The rate of child mortality for Indigenous children is twice that of other Australian children. We wanted to halve the gap in reading, writing and numeracy by 2018. And this is well behind, with 1 in 4 Indigenous children not meeting minimum standards for reading and 1 in 5 for numeracy. And these children are being robbed of a lifetime of opportunity. We wanted to close the gap in school attendance by 2018 and halve the gap in employment, and to close the gap in life expectancy by 2031. And this remains 8 years behind non-Indigenous Australians for Indigenous Australians, and that is worse in remote and regional areas. And very concerningly, cancer mortality rates for Indigenous Australians are actually worsening in absolute terms, not only when compared with non-Indigenous Australians. We cannot accept this as a nation. This is the same as last year, and it is simply not good enough. If we want to see real change and progress in closing the gap, we must properly understand that the dispossession of separation of families did not stay in the past. That generational trauma continues on. We have to recognise this. The consequences of past wrongs have transcended generations and can still be felt today. We need to confront our history. We need truth-telling. It is also critical that we understand that First Nations people understand best the challenges and solutions to the issues affecting them. First Nations people need to be central to the decisions that affect them, and it is for these reasons that Labor supports the Uluru Statement in full. Yeah. As outlined in the Uluru Statement from the Heart delivered in 2017, 3 years ago now, from those gathered at the National Constitutional Convention coming from all around this country, they said, "We are the most incarcerated people on the planet." They said, "Our children are alienated from their families at unprecedented rates." They said, "Our youth languish in detention in obscene numbers." And they said, "In order to be empowered to take our rightful place in this country, in order to have power over our destiny, in order to celebrate culture, we call for the establishment of a First Nations voice enshrined in the Constitution, Makarrata, the coming together after a struggle." And Labor wants to see this implemented. Here we are 3 years on, still waiting to see a voice to the Parliament enshrined so that we can meaningfully listen. We must stop repeating the mistakes of the past. We must genuinely listen to First Nations Australians. We welcome the partnership between the Coalition of Peaks and the Government, and Labor hopes to support new and ambitious targets to close the gap, including in the important areas of justice, child removal and out-of-home care. And there are things that just must simply be addressed. As the member for Barton has again drawn attention to in this parliament, there are communities that don't have clean water for kidney dialysis, let alone drinking. We cannot accept this as a nation. A genuine commitment means that services and programs need to be adequately resourced and properly funded. And we do question that commitment as genuine when this government has cut $500 million from Indigenous Affairs. We look forward to working in bipartisanship with the government to close the gap. But as the member for Barton has also said, bipartisanship must not be a race to the bottom. We must be ambitious. We must genuinely listen and genuinely close the gap. Thank you.